Hey, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Day 20, Taco Tuesday. We're starting off the day right. A little early morning basketball. Getting our sweat on. Look at these crazy fools, man. 6 a.m. basketball. You got all these people out here, people waiting. It's nuts, man. I love it, though. This is what excellence looks like, right? This is what excellence looks like. So today's day 20. It's a big day. We're counting down. We got about 20 days left. 20 days left till we open. If you're new here, my name is Glenn Lundy, husband to one, father to 8. I am also the owner of 800% Elite Automotive Club and 800% Elite Auto Sales, which is a new dealership that we are building from scratch. And you are behind this. Hey, what a shot! What a shot! Look at that dude. Let's go. You are behind the scenes making of a dealership. We are going step by step, showing you the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs, the mistakes that we make, building a dealership from scratch. Yeah, I'm also an author. I wrote a couple books. I wrote one book called The Legacy Titles. I wrote another book called The Morning Five. Five simple steps to an extraordinary life. And in that Morning Five, it's real easy, right? It's no phone first thing in the morning. No snooze button. Then no phone first thing in the morning. Write down your gratitude and goals. Take care of the physical. This is the take care of the physical part. Doesn't matter if you walk. It doesn't matter if you run. It doesn't matter if you like to lift weights, play ball. Just get your body in motion. An object in motion stays in motion. An object in motion stays in motion. Object at rest stays at rest. So that's what we're doing. What is going on? Wow. I'll come back in. All right, I got to get in. I'll see you in a minute. Bye. So, we are shooting our first podcast in the new
Scusi?
podcast studio. Excusez-moi. It's under construction, as you can hear, so there's going to be some drilling going on back there in the back. But I thought, since we are hanging out behind the scenes, making of the new dealership, all of that good stuff, I thought that since you are our favorites, don't tell anyone else, but since you're our favorites, the podcast will come out for weeks, right?
Yeah, like at least by Thursday.
Will it come out Thursday? Yeah, the podcast will come out in like a month or 5, or maybe Thursday, but you'll get it here first on YouTube. So we're just gonna go ahead and do the thing, record it for there. This is gonna go out on the Dealer Playbook, which is like top 10 business podcasts in the world. Been around for 14 years, 12 years, 8 years. 10 years. Been around for 10. I've been. Actually, I heard a thing. A guy was saying, when you've been in business for like 8 years, you're supposed to say almost a decade. And if it's 10 years, you say a decade. If it's more than 10 years, you say more than a decade.
Yeah, I've been definitely more than a decade.
Yeah, that word, decade, like has more psychological power than saying 10 years.
Oh, okay.
You're also supposed to say, like, if you've made $1.4 million, you would say 2. You'd say we've made over nearly $2 million.
Psychology.
Yeah, it's like, so.
Which, I mean, makes sense, because to be fair, my first attempt at podcasting was in 2012.
Yeah, so he's been podcasting for over a decade. Do you see how different that sounds than 10 years?
Yeah.
Over a decade.
Well over a decade.
And he's been like top 10, like at least over a decade of that. So, Dealer Playbook Podcast, Michael Cirillo, you're going to want to check it out. You are getting the behind-the-scenes first podcast in the new dealership. We are still not open for, 20 more days or so?
Yep.
But we thought we'd just go ahead and record this here versus recording somewhere else. Because, A, we want to make sure we test our cameras and our mics and so on and so forth, which, are these programmed?
These are programmed. Should we show them what we see?
Yeah, do it.
Okay, let's show them.
Yeah, show them.
So, you can see Glenn right here is using this Stream Deck, and when he pushes those buttons, it changes the view. And then this is what we see.
Right, and that's what we hear.
And that's what we hear right now. And it's a real raw look.
Pretty cool. So we're gonna go ahead and shoot podcast number 1, and we're gonna let you guys in behind the scenes. Welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. But we got to make sure not to look at that and actually look at the cameras.
Yeah. So you're gonna control that. I can, yeah. I mean, you're better at it than I am.
Oh, well, then just put it right here. And let me remember. So this camera
I'm gonna get rid of
is
this gum too.
the side view that shows. This is center view, and this is the zoomed in on me view.
Yeah.
So which camera am I supposed to be looking at when I do this one?
That is that camera over there.
Okay, so if I do this one, I talk here.
Yep.
If I do this one, I talk here.
Yep.
If I do this one, I talk here.
Yep.
And when I'm talking to you, we want to be here.
Yep.
And so,
Yeah.
so when you're talking, I want to be here. Here.
You can be here or here. Yeah.
Oh, either one.
This.
But that's this camera.
Yep.
So this camera is really the main Mac Daddy.
This one?
Yeah, because it catches us both. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
that's the center.
Yeah, and it's moved. Hold on, I gotta move this. Been bumped. Been bumped.
Oh, he's mad because it's not real centered right there. Now, wait, is this video going out?
Yep.
So is that going to bother you?
No.
No, this.
No.
No, this.
Your phone.
No, this. Because in the middle shot, it's there.
No, I'm okay with it.
Okay. All right, and that's that camera.
Yeah, because we're
And that's that camera.
killing two birds with one stone.
So the button on the left is the camera on the right, and the button on the right is the camera on the left.
Are we filming?
Oh, yeah, we will be here shortly.
Really?
Yeah. We're going to shoot, so this will be our podcast tower.
Oh, cool.
Once the dealership's up and running. And so we're going to shoot our first podcast today right here. That'll go out in he's got a top 10 rated business podcast. So it'll go out in,
You guys gonna be here?
what's that? 30 minutes or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You're welcome to keep moving though, man. We don't
No, I
want.
was gonna run to Lowe's and get some more two before
All right, well, that's good timing.
traffic, so,
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be here.
didn't want to be in y'all's way and right in the middle of the. I don't want to be on the podcast.
No, you sure?
I guess it's video too.
It's video.
Yeah.
Video podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you take a peek around, you can see what we're working with over here. We can control our camera angles.
Oh, cool.
So we got 3 cameras here. We got a button on the right for the camera on the left, and we got a button on the left for the camera on the
Which
right.
I know he loves.
That's how it's done, isn't it?
That's how they do it in
All
Canada,
behind the
anyway.
scenes stuff you don't know about.
That's how they do it in Canada. man.
Right.
Hey, he's touched on it 4 times now in the last 2 minutes. It's driving him bonkers.
We're going to be podcasting some car deals. Is that what it is?
So once the dealership's actually open, we are launching a new podcast called Everyday Jobs with Everyday People. And we are going to interview 800 people here in Lexington and surrounding areas. 800 people that just do everyday jobs,
Wow.
man.
Cool.
Yeah, so we're excited to, most podcasts, they might interview a celebrity or this or that, but there's everyday people like you and I, man, that are just doing everyday jobs. And you have a story, right? I have a story. We all have a
I don't know
story.
if anybody wants to hear about it or not.
You'd be
surprised.
shocked.
Well, maybe around bedtime.
All right, man. Thank you. Okay, camera on the button on the left for the camera on the right. Button on the right for the camera on the left. Got it.
Yeah. And then full is both
Center.
of us.
Okay.
Yeah, that's our main.
Did you want me to sit over here
No, you don't have to.
so that?
No, because if you go here, then you're out
Oh.
of shot completely. So the middle works actually.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
All right, but I gotta do everything in my power to not look over there.
It doesn't really matter if you do. Do I just hit this here?
Everyday job with everyday people. I sound like that woman who did the national anthem. Did you see that?
No.
Oh my gosh, dude. It is
Like
officially no. So this one has now officially been labeled the worst ever national anthem. It was at the Major League Baseball All-Star game.
Oh, no.
They were like, Roseanne is now off the hook. Fergie is now off the hook. This woman,
Oh, no.
I don't know her name. I don't
Is
know
it
who
a celebrity?
she was. Yeah. Bro. I'll show you after this.
Do we splice a little bit in?
Dude, it's bad.
End this vlog with it?
Like, so bad. And the rockets regular. Like that, dude. It's awful. And through the whole thing, like not just at the end, the whole song, she's like cracking and I'm not even exaggerating. You think I'm exaggerating? I'm not even exaggerating. When you listen to it, bro, you're gonna be like,
Oh.
how did they not audition this person?
I see, so that's an issue for me. And also the singing type that, you know, where they sing the word a slightly off tempo.
Yeah. Ooh. Bothers a sound engineer like yourself.
Yes, he is.
All right, Canada. You
Okay.
ready? Did you like that in your meeting earlier? They were like, what's the capital of Canada? I was like, C.
I could tell it took them a minute.
It
They
did.
were like,
Everybody was like,
no, Ottawa starts with an O.
yeah. Oh, C.
Oh, see, capital of Canada.
Okay. I'm selling my
Do I hit
jet.
record? You're selling your jet?
Oh, now you have to set up an output. Go to output. Output settings. Then you're gonna set up add on the bottom left. Oh, you already have a high quality recording.
Yeah, and it goes to somewhere already.
Yeah. Okay, you already got it then. So hit cancel. And then yeah, hit that red button there.
This one?
Yeah. Or it will be red or green. Yeah, that's what I meant. That button. Okay. Let's go. Dealer Playbook back again. Super excited to be here. Oh, you're doing the intro. This is your podcast.
This is my show.
My bad.
This is my show.
Sorry, I gotta look at that camera. I keep forgetting. Look at that camera. And then button on the right for the camera on the left. Button on the left for the camera on the right. Okay, got it. Got it. Taco Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday.
Oh, I love Taco Tuesday.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
Hey gang, welcome to this episode of the Dealer Playbook Podcast. We are sitting down inside of 800 Elite Auto, the new dealership, with my man Glenn Lundy. You can tell it's the end of the day. We both had meetings all day.
All day, bro.
I thought it'd be cool to do a dealership, do a podcast right from the dealership.
Yeah, we don't want to do a dealership from a podcast, but
No.
we could probably do a podcast from a dealership.
Yes. And we're having a bunch of fun. We always have fun when we're together. So
No doubt.
Thanks so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you having me, and super excited to be back on the Dealer Playbook. Let's go.
We're in an empty shell of a dealership right now.
Yeah.
Paint is up. Podcast studio set up. You did one of your vlogs on the 800% Elite Auto YouTube channel talking about how of all the things that we could have installed in the dealership first, it was a podcast studio. Tell me why that's important to you.
So it's really important, you know, as we build out this dealership, we're really wanting to do things different. And the way that I'm looking at it is we are let me reword this. The best way to put our people in a position to be successful is we need attention, right? And so the way I look at it is we are a media company.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I'm sorry, I keep going backwards. We are a leadership development academy first.
Right.
We are a media company second.
Mm-hmm.
And we happen to sell cars last, right? And so it's the last priority. So most dealerships around America anyway, I don't know how it is in capital C, but most dealerships in America, when you walk into a showroom, what do you see?
Cars.
You see cars.
Cables.
Yeah, why do you see cars?
Because that's what they're there to sell. That's the whole reason they're open.
That's the whole reason they're open. And that's
Right.
exactly right. So our whole reason for being open is we want to develop leaders, we want to make an impact in the community, we want to help train our clients in a unique way where they can sell more cars. We really want to serve the industry, and like I said, the cars are just kind of a product that we use to be able to deliver that bigger mission. So I didn't want to bring cars in here first. I don't want a bunch of pictures on the walls of cars. I wanted the podcast studio to go in first, because that is really our intention, and B, I want my team to know, like, we are going to be doing video, we are going to be creating content, like this is priority number one, that we make a lot of noise, get a lot of attention in order to make the impact that we want to make. So we're kind of making a statement here in this place, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I actually heard it yesterday from one of our team members that's going to be working in the store, Melissa. And it was in passing. We're at the boardroom at the 800 Elite Auto Club offices.
Yeah.
And
HQ.
Yeah. And she goes, I've just learned my lesson. And you go, what's that? She's like, if you're around, I need to be fully done up, makeup, because I know I'm going to be on video.
Facts.
Yeah.
Like always. Like, we're going to have a 24-hour live stream in this place to where all of our team members will be on camera 24/7, and potential customers, fans, people that, you know, find value in everything that we're doing, our clients, they'll be able to tune in 24/7, no walls, no screens, no curtains, no nonsense. You want to talk about transparency? 24-hour live stream, bro.
Like 8 weeks ago, you didn't know this was going to happen.
Right.
What have you, if you had to think about the maybe top 2 or 3 things you've had to learn in your life that opened you up to seeing opportunities when they present themselves, what are they, right? Because I feel like most people go through their life not recognizing opportunities, then looking at someone who's doing stuff, who's a mover, a shaker, and they're like, well, what's the difference between that guy and what I'm doing? How come these types of things never land in my lap?
Yeah.
What are those 1 to 2, maybe 2 or 3 habits that you've developed that have positioned you to see opportunities and pounce on them because you're ready?
Positioned me to see opportunities and pounce on them when I'm ready. So one would be my morning routine. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but every single morning I go through my morning routine, right? No snooze, no phone first thing in the morning, gratitude and goals, take care of the physical, and send out an encouraging message. That pattern allows me time every single day to look at where I am presently in life, to reflect on where I was before, and to dream about where I could potentially go. And when you sit still, which a lot of us don't do enough,
right.
When you sit still, you can calm downloads, God, those types of things, have an opportunity to plant seeds of confidence, seeds of faith, seeds of action, right? And so I think that's the first thing, is I've been doing that every day for, I don't know, years and years and years and years and years, over a decade.
Well over a
decade. So I've been doing that well over a decade now. And so I think that's step one, is you really have to create space. The world's a busy place, man. And a lot of times we just get super busy. So create space to allow these things to happen in your life. That's one. 2 is, I am a huge advocate of urgency. Now, not necessarily speed. Speed and urgency are different things. Right? So to act with speed can sometimes create lots of opportunities for mistakes. Right? There's some things you need to, like, slow down, methodic, have a plan, have a strategy, so on and so forth. But to always act with urgency is like a core value of mine. So in the moment that I receive a download, hear God's call, am compelled or led in whatever direction, I always move with urgency. Because there's a book I read called Big Magic. My friend Heather Parody, who you know very well, she introduced me to this book, Big Magic. And in that book, Elizabeth Gilbert talks about how ideas are alive in this weird realm, and they're looking for a host to bring them to existence.
Yeah.
And they'll go from host to host to host to host to host until someone will actually dig in and bring them to life. Like, they desperately want to be alive. And this is why, I'm sure you've had this happen. I know I've had this happen, where I was in Flagstaff, Arizona. It's freezing cold. I'm a kid and I'm watching TV, and I'm laying on the couch with a blanket. And in Flagstaff, I mean, it gets cold. And back then, the TV had to see the remote.
Yeah, right.
So I'm cold under the blanket like this, and I'm reaching out from the blanket, and I'm changing the channel, and my arm's cold. And so I'm like digging back into the blanket quickly, and I thought, man, it would be amazing if I had a blanket with sleeves. Wouldn't that be incredible? I did nothing with the idea. 2 years later, out comes the Snuggie. And this guy makes millions and millions of dollars creating a blanket with sleeves, right? The idea landed on me. I didn't act with urgency. The idea made its way around to someone else who was willing to bring it to life. And I think we've all experienced that, right? We all have, oh, I had that idea years ago. I wish, I should have done that.
Right.
Right? And so my wife has called twice now. Maybe I should just answer. I know we're in a podcast. So, go for it.
So we're talking about, there's so many firsts. This is the first time we're recording from the dealership.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've had a guest take a phone call from their wife in the middle of it.
Hey, and I'll tell you about that here in a minute.
But it's also the first time, in addition to that you were just presented with an opportunity and made a decision on it immediately. While we're talking about how to recognize and position ourselves to take opportunities.
Correct.
I'm not going to ask you the details of the opportunity, but
sure.
But you've talked to us about a couple of things that have allowed you, have empowered you to become the host for opportunities, to assess them and leverage them. And I think that's something that's incredibly valuable for anybody that's listening or watching, because we're all getting ideas. The difference is being able to assess them and put them into implementation. How were you able to, when just presented with an opportunity, assess it and say no to it? Where I think, especially on the tail end of you talking about most people going through life being like, oh man, I should have.
Sure.
How are you able to assess, no, that's something I'm not even going to worry about, I should have in the future?
Well, two things. One, I answered the phone because my wife, one day, this was a few years ago, my wife said to me, honey, you say I'm the number one priority in your life. And I was like, yeah, you are. You're number one. And she goes, okay, then how come when you're on the phone with me and someone else calls, you get off the phone with me, but if you're on the phone with someone else and I call, you don't get off the phone? And
she's
I thought,
a closer.
She's got a valid point, bro.
Right.
Sometimes we take the people closest to us for granted. And so when she, the one time she called right there, I try to answer any time she calls, but the one time she called, it could have been one of the kids,
Sure.
Second time she calls, we got a thing. So how do we make decisions quickly? Well, you got to know the source. If the source is God, then yeah, we'll entertain that. Sometimes when the source is my beautiful and amazing and incredible wife, who is always looking at houses and is always, she's always looking at houses. She's always looking at things. So the call just now, she said, hey, are you willing to drive 47 minutes to get to the office? Right now, my drive to the office is 15 minutes. Are you willing to drive 47 minutes to get to the office? I knew where she was headed, right? Where she was headed is, hey, I'm looking at a property right now and it's pretty cool and it's 47 minutes from the office. So the answer is no, I'm not interested in driving 47 minutes from the office, because I already know that she's just playing around with a house that has 48 acres.
Right.
But we have a beautiful home.
You do.
on 10 acres with a pond.
That's
15
stocked.
minutes from the house, 15 minutes from the dealership,
Yeah.
15 minutes from all the kids' activities that they love to do. I believe it will be our forever home, at least until all the kids are out of the house, and then we might downsize because it's 8,500 square feet. It's a big house.
Yeah.
So I've already kind of set that, like, this is where we're going to raise our kids, and she knows that. We've had those conversations. But with other decisions outside of this particular one, there's some core values that I believe in. There's paths that I believe that we are on. And so when an opportunity is presented, I can run it through those things pretty quickly. For example, if somebody says, hey, do you want to go to do XYZ? I'll say, well, does it bring people together? Does it allow me to equip them with the tools they need to succeed? And does it allow me to inspire them to be great? So if it'll do all three of those things, bring people together, equip them with the tools they need to succeed, and inspire them to be great, I'll entertain that.
Interesting. Yep.
Right. But if it doesn't bring people together, like maybe it equips people with a tool and can inspire them to be great, but it's all solo, right? Like drop shipping opportunity, something, right? Where it could inspire an individual, and it could equip them with a tool for success, but it's not going to bring them together in community. Then it's not for me. Like, I'm built to bring people together, equip them with tools they need to succeed, and inspire them to be great. So I just have these filters of core values and purpose that I can run something through the filter, and if it doesn't ring all the bells, it's off the table.
Right. And I mean, without getting into all of the details of how the dealership is coming together, because you can check that out on the YouTube channel. We will link to, where you're documenting every day.
That's you.
Which is
talking about you guys.
What we're doing right here. I can see now why it was a quick decision for you, because it touches all three of those things.
Correct.
Right? You're driving down the street, you see an empty lot. That was a dealership. It's not a dealership anymore. You go, wait a minute. You saw the opportunity to unify people, to inspire them, and what was the third one again?
Equip them with the tools they need to succeed.
Equip them with the tools they need to succeed, and that's exactly what's happening here. So your big, bold idea, vision is that you're not going to work in this store.
Correct.
You're hiring a team that is going to do the day-to-day operating of this dealership. Why is that important to you?
For growth and expansion to fully live out the vision that I have in my heart of the life I want to leave, if that makes sense, right? The legacy I want to leave. If I'm working in this store, it does a couple things. One, other people on the outside can say, well, that dealership's only successful because Glenn's doing it.
Right.
And that doesn't help the consulting side of what we do, and it also doesn't tell the true story, which is that my people are incredible. A lot of people attribute direct success to my charismatic personality, so on and so forth, right? So we don't want it to do that. Also, if I'm working in this store, then I become an integral part of its growth, which means when I open a store in Dallas, now I have to be an integral part of its growth. And if I want to open a store in Florida, now I have to be an integral part of its growth. And there's only one of me, and it's, we're not as spread apart as Canada is, but we're pretty spread apart around here. And so the bigger vision, every bit of me wants to just jump in and do all the things. But the bigger vision says, hey, Glenn, you're limiting your potential and you're reducing the impact that you can make with your life if you get too deep in the weeds on this. Stay over here, guide and lead, which is what I do best. Bring people together, equip them with tools they need to succeed, and inspire them to be great. Let's do that from a distance, and then once you learn that skill, we can now
it's scalable.
Duplicate, and it's scalable.
I remember a seminar I did years ago. One of the first things they taught for young entrepreneurs was that as part of your business plan, you have to have an exit strategy. And some people would take that as, what's your growth path to acquisition, get out of it, that's ring the bell, all those sorts of things. But what they were really talking about is how to build a business that is not dependent upon you to grow and scale. That's kind of my take. Is that am I understanding that right? Like this is, I'm starting, you know, the dealership is starting with your exit strategy at the forefront, not being you as the pivot point for everything.
Yeah, totally. And it's also, you know, it's like fun and challenging for me at the same time, right? So my friend Danelle, she was like, Glenn, you've gone from employee to employer, which means you have to change how you function, right? Mm-hmm. The way I've always functioned as an employee is I took mental ownership, but I got it done. Yeah. Give me the ball. I'm going to take it across the finish line. Right. I'm going to get it done, or across the into the end zone, right? Mm-hmm. And so now I have to learn a new skill, which is how do we duplicate 800% success without me having to hold the ball? I look at professional sports all the time, and how do you go from quarterback, right, who's throwing all the passes, to head coach, who's guiding all of that, to GM, right, to owner? Like there's all these levels, right? When you go watch an NFL football game, you'll see the owner. If it's a home game, you'll usually see him on the field before the game and maybe after, but then he goes up in his box and sits and watches.
He's not playing the game.
He ain't playing the game.
Right.
I mean, he's allowing other people to spread their wings and fly by doing so. And so that's important to me to learn this new season that I'm in my life, because for a very long time I attached my identity to my individual production. Now my identity is starting to be attached to the ability to grow and develop others and still reach massive levels of success. Like I'm not going to go, well, if I was doing it, we'd sell 800, but since they're doing it, I'm okay with 6. Like, no, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
I recently watched a documentary about Lionel Messi on Apple TV Plus.
Okay.
If you have Apple TV Plus, you should check out this docuseries. We know that David Beckham, who is a phenomenal player, broke all sorts of records, had an amazing career as a footballer or a soccer player, now owns part of Inter Miami. He's a partner of this soccer club in Miami. They recruit Messi, so they recruit somebody who's also great. But I'm thinking about it in the context of what you've just said, because you've played the game.
Yeah.
You excelled at the game. You grew others in the game. Now you've got your own club and you're building a roster of people. Right. I mean, it's got to be difficult for Beckham to not play the game,
for sure,
and rely on the team.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's kind of a similar analogy. That's how I'm internalizing it.
Yeah,
it's
totally.
Like you can't keep stepping in to play the game for the people, or else they will never excel at playing the game.
Yeah, correct, man. And how fair is that?
Right.
Like, that's not cool.
No. You're not doing anything to help them.
Yeah, you know. I don't want, I feel like the whole system is pretty jacked up in today's day and age. You know, back when we had the Industrial Revolution in the early 1920s, late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah.
Like, the Industrial Revolution came around and it kind of changed what work looked like, right? So prior to the Industrial Revolution, there was exchanges of values. People exchanged things of values. There was barter systems. Yeah, there was some money and there was some capitalism, you know, like those things
dig me a ditch and I'll give you some milk.
Yeah, I mean, those things kind of, you know, they existed, but it wasn't until the Industrial Revolution where we created this thing where it's like, I will be at the top.
Yeah.
And everyone will be beneath me.
Right.
The rules will be different for me than they are for you. And I will make all of the money and you will get the scraps. Like, that was kind of an Industrial Revolution type of thing, right? And to be honest, it worked for, you know, a good period of time. Like, people could work for a big organization and make decent money and take care of their families and have a savings and buy a house, and one parent could stay home and the other one could go to work if they wanted. And, you know, like, it was good until probably like the 60s, the 70s. And then things started to shift a little bit going into the 80s. And then came this internet thing. And the internet thing, like, really transformed the level of wealth that some of these high levels make, and the cost of living went through the roof. So now we're at a place where, like, you got a lot of people that go into those environments, you know, with the promise of retirement or whatever that promise is, and a home and a white picket fence. And what they end up is both parents are both people in the relationship grinding their
tails off.
BALLZ, I think that's your favorite
balls.
word. Grinding their balls off for 40 plus years to end up, you know, depending on what kind of industry they're in, maybe a little broken down physically, and they're still living on a budget with very little savings, no financial freedom. Like,
now they're doing it to pay off a credit card bill because they overextended.
Yeah, exactly. So it's changed quite a bit, I think. But business itself hasn't changed. And so I think it is important that we grow people, give them the tools they need to be successful, and then allow them to reach and achieve whatever goal it is that they're trying to reach and achieve. And that means some people are going to come through here and go, right? They're going to come through here and learn all the things they need to learn, and then they're going to go open a business. They're going to go open a dealership. They're going to go do whatever it is they do. Like, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a win. So many people are like, I want to lock them in. I'm going to give them a 401k and a pension and tenure, and you're going to get 1 week of vacation after 3 years, and then another week after 5 years, and another week after 7 years, because I just need you to stay here and grind in the freaking ground for me forever.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And I just don't see the world like that anymore. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's right. I think that we should educate people, develop people, grow people. If they perform at a super high level, you know they're in the right spot, so feed them as much as you can feed them so that they can go out and do what they need to do. If they're not performing at a very good level, they're probably in the wrong spot. Let them go somewhere else where they can really grow and thrive. Like, I just want, when I'm done, man, I want a bunch of people to be, you know, I want my kids in the line, my wife and my kids in the line. Here's my coffin, and there's thousands of people in a line, and all of them are walking by and looking at my kids and going, your dad really made a massive impact in my life.
Yeah.
Like, that's the end. And
that kind of gives a,
you know,
that gives a new meaning to generational wealth. Because it's not now just in the context of monetary means for your family, your children, your grandchildren. It is actually the impact reach of thousands of other families who have been impacted in a positive way.
And their children, and their children's children.
Right.
It's multi-generational.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's a different way of looking at it.
Like, even the schedule piece, right? So people always ask me, because nobody has a schedule.
At the dealership.
Or my consulting company.
No schedule.
Nobody
no
has
9
a
to 5,
schedule.
no, it's like,
Nobody has a schedule.
show up.
Nobody has a schedule.
So somebody, because I understand it, because I've worked alongside you for a long time, but for those that are listening, and that's kind of a foreign concept.
You want now?
Yeah. No, you're good.
Be all right, make noise.
Go right ahead, man. We don't want to slow you down.
See, this is what happens. We're recording live. We've got a contractor over here who's building walls, and we can't get in his way. We're doing this.
We can't slow him down.
Hey, the DPV gang's been with me for well over a decade.
That's
now.
right.
So they
Beautiful.
they know. But this idea of no schedule, explain that briefly, what you mean by that, because I think there are some people that, wait a minute, what does that actually mean? How do you monitor? I think their gut instinct is, but how do you monitor the output and the performance of people if you don't have a schedule?
Totally. So, and because I've been able to talk about it so many times now, I have the greatest response. It's awesome. So the more successful the person is, especially if they're a business owner or whatever, and they go, how do you run with no schedule? I just look at them and I go, what's your schedule? You're a big skater, Michael.
Yeah.
What's your schedule at work?
It's always on.
But what's your schedule?
I don't have one.
You don't have a schedule. Do you still work?
Yeah.
Do you still show up?
Yeah.
You probably work more than most people.
You do what you got to do.
You do what you gotta do. So why is it that you have this magnificent ability to function without a schedule, but nobody else can? Right? It's that simple. So
Do you think that was an attempt, though, in this employee culture to be like, and here's how we're going to make them feel like they have life balance?
No, it was, if I can function
Yeah.
without a schedule,
Yeah.
why can't they? Like, simple as that. Like, why
Right.
do I have to tell you?
What's so different
I don't
about
even
me?
want to, bro.
Right.
Like, I don't want to tell you, you have to be at work at 8:30 a.m. You have to punch in on the clock, and then you have to clock out for lunch at noon, and then be back at 12:30, and then I have to have people that monitor. You're a freaking
You just
adult,
created
dude.
another job for yourself.
Oh my gosh, I don't want that. Like, you're an adult. I don't want to babysit you. I don't want to tell you when to be to work. I don't want to tell you when to go home. I don't want to tell you any of that. Here's what I want to do. I want to bring people together, equip them with the tools they need to succeed, and inspire them to be great. And so we have 2 policies. Because, again, this whole industrial revolution created this thing. And here we are 100 years later, where there's like, here's our employee handbook. It's 946 pages.
Make
of
sure you
policies.
read that before you start.
Right. Here's all our policies, right? We have 2 policies. Policy number 1, act in the best interest of the company at all times. Policy number 2, adequate performers will be graciously asked to take their talents elsewhere. That's all you need, bro.
Say it again. Adequate performers will be graciously asked to take their talents elsewhere.
That's correct.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I made a post about this, somebody was like, or actually multiple people, I had like 6 or 7 people. Glenn, you meant inadequate performers will be graciously asked to take your talents elsewhere. I'm like, no, I didn't. Adequate. If you are average, I'll ask you to take your talents elsewhere.
Right.
I don't want average. I want top performers. I want dogs that are willing to get in there and get it done. I want the best of the best. Imagine if a sport. Well, you're hockey. Well, you're Canada, so maybe hockey. Imagine, what sport do you like now? Do you know any sports?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So let's just say your favorite sports team, whatever it was.
I don't know.
Say you had a favorite sports team.
Sure.
The Edmonton Moose Knuckles.
Yeah. So the coach of your favorite sports team comes out and he says, you know what? We're looking for the most average players we can find. We really believe if we can just get our players to be average and to do the very minimum expectation, we're guaranteed to win the championship. You'd be like, what? No, they're like, we're looking for the best of the best of the best of the best.
Yeah.
And that's the expectation, is you are the best of the best of the best of the best.
Right.
So our 2 policies actually feed right one into another. They feed into one another hand in hand, right? Always act in the best interest of the company. Adequate performers will be graciously asked to take their talents elsewhere. Why do I need to have a schedule? If you are not acting in the best interest of the company, we're just going to graciously ask you to go somewhere else.
Sure.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, they feed into, like, if you're not performing at a super high level, I'm just going to graciously, like, no hard feelings, but you got to go, bro.
You got to go. Somebody else is chomping at the bit to get in here and
Dude,
show us what they're made of.
Kobe Bryant, bro. NBA superstar. We all know Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. We all miss Kobe Bryant. He had, when he did this most of his career, but let's just say when he was in the NBA, he had a job. And as part of his job, they practiced from 10 to noon, I think it was. And then on 2-a-day weeks, they practiced again from 4 to 6. You weren't required to be at practice, but they'd just fire you if you don't show up, like they did out
That was
in
the bare
Madison,
minimum.
right?
Yeah.
But Kobe would show up
Tack
4 to
on.
6. He did 4 days, right? He did 4 days because he was, and nobody had to tell Kobe to go do 4 days.
Sure.
Nobody had to tell him to eat right. Nobody told him to lift those weights.
Yeah.
Right? So I just believe that adults should be allowed to act as adults. And if you're acting in the best interest of the company and you're performing at a super high level, then I don't need to tell you when to show up for work or when to not show up for work. And as far as my customers, if our door says we're open from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 9 to 7, whatever it says, acting in the best interest of the company would be making sure there's people here to take care of those customers between those hours of 9 and 7.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's real simple.
And it goes,
I feel like we've complicated this whole work thing.
I think you're right. And it goes full circle right back to the very beginning, which is where I want to end in almost a chiastic way, poetic way.
I don't know what that word means.
A chiasm, you know, in like biblical times, the beginning of a chapter, well, we've turned them into chapters, but the beginning of a sentiment and the end of a sentiment would work backwards and towards each other to a common point in the middle.
And that's called the chiastic.
It's a chiasm, I think, is the actual word. I don't know
Thanks,
if chiastic is, but anyways. But we are ending where we began with opportunity. You brought up Kobe.
Yeah.
See, I've got to believe that Kobe knew full well that doing 4 a days was an opportunity available literally to everybody else in the league.
Correct.
But he was the only one who decided to take it.
Correct.
Acting in the best interest of the company, of the dealership, is available to everyone.
Yeah.
But there will be those who, based on their ambition, their desire, their goals, their drive, will see opportunities inside of that are available to everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference being that they're taking them. And I feel like in today's culture, in today's society, people are too focused on, well, why does Glenn get that? Why does Michael get to do that?
Right.
Not realizing that you and I and so many people that have mentored us, that we mentor, that we get to rub shoulders with, we all start the same.
No doubt.
Born buck naked, with air in our lungs, and every opportunity available to us.
Yeah.
And it's what we do with it that's the difference.
That's it, man. That's it. And unfortunately, for many, including me in a past life, unfortunately for many, we have built this system. We've become...
We build walls around ourselves.
Yeah, we've become the inmates of a prison that we can't see, and we're also the guards of this prison that we can't see. And we've also somehow attached pride.
And we also have the keys to the
prison.
handcuffs.
And we have the keys, but we don't realize, we don't even know that we've built it. And I see a lot of people that are going through their entire lives never really chasing their dreams, and believing that there's something external that is keeping them from unlocking their full potential, when the reality is it's an internal thing. And so we're trying to create an environment here where it is our responsibility to unlock the potential in people, and you do not unlock the potential in people by shackling them to a time clock, or shackling them, or I'm sorry, allowing them to be average. That's not how you unlock people's full potential. So I guarantee you, bro, we're gonna have some people that work here, and they're gonna be devastated when we let them go.
Sure.
Because they have so much freedom, so much flexibility, and they're gonna have opportunities outside of the There are people that are gonna come through these walls and it's not gonna work. There are some people that are so ingrained in
Still in prison.
this prison that, okay, I need someone to tell me when to be at work, and I need someone to tell me when to go home, and I need someone to tell me, like, those people are going to want to work here. There's some people that are going to say no schedule, and they're closed 7 weeks a year. We didn't even get into that. No schedule, and they're closing. I want to work there. They're going to be like lazy people. And they're not going to get through our screening system, because we have a very, but I know this won't work for everyone. But for those that can come into this environment, take advantage of the opportunity, do the 4 days like Kobe and so on and so forth, that this is going to completely transform their lives, their children's lives, their children's lives, the community all around them. The impact of this will be far and wide.
Whew.
Guaranteed, homie.
You're also, tell me if I'm wrong here, but you're also like welcoming of other dealers coming in and checking out what we're doing here.
Bro, Please, and sign up.
Like, no closed doors. Like, you don't even have to come in and mystery shop and be all shady. You
No.
can just come in and be like, we're from this dealership.
Dude, we're live streaming half the stuff. We're doing a YouTube docuseries on how we're building it. We have a training and consulting company that literally works with dealers. We work with F&I, we work with sales, we work with all of it. Like,
Come on in.
please,
Prove us.
please. And here's why. There's a bigger mission, and Heather Parody, again, I'll mention her name because she's a muse in my life. But she has helped me realize, like, it bothers me that, and I refer to pro sports all the time. It's a big part of my life. It bothers me that there are millions of kids out there who have dreams and aspirations of being a professional athlete, who will work their tails off from age 7 to age 22 to try to get into the league when it's a lottery's chance of them actually making it. Meanwhile, the auto industry is the second largest industry on the planet. It's created more billionaires than any other industry on planet Earth. The richest man on Earth is a car guy. And we don't have a single kid saying, when I grow up, I want to be in the car business. There's opportunities. Anybody can walk into this place and become a freaking multimillionaire, a billionaire, create success, make an impact. Only 1 in a million is going to make it into professional athletes. But they've done such a good job of telling their story.
That's the dream. That's the
dream.
Yeah.
So the reason we let all other dealers in and so on and so forth is, like, the more dealerships that can start thinking a little bit differently, and the more dealerships that can really make an impact in people's lives, maybe one day, maybe it's I have a dream. Maybe I'll see it happen, or maybe I won't. But maybe, just maybe, one day there'll be tens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or possibly even millions of young people growing up saying,
our business.
one day I'm gonna be in that right there. I wanna be that.
That is our version of the major leagues.
That's it.
Wow. Hey. We are
some people
here.
think I'm crazy, bro. You
Wow.
think I'm crazy, bro?
You're a car guy.
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk.
am
People
that.
think Elon's crazy. He's a car guy.
He's crazy. And I love him for it.
Oh, man. Well, hey, listen, I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Dealer Playbook Podcast with Glenn Lundy. Glenn, how can those listening and watching connect with you?
Oh, just search, easiest thing, do glennlundy.com, or you just search my name, Glenn Lundy. For some reason, I'm like the only Glenn Lundy in America that cares about social media or anything else. So feel free, Glenn Lundy, 1 N, 2 N's, I don't care. You'll find me. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty confident, and if somebody else can tell me different, please do. I am pretty confident that I have more video content on Google than like any single individual on planet Earth. And I mean that. Click my name, put Glenn Lundy, and then click videos. It's like 87 pages before you'll find anything besides me.
That's crazy.
And you're the Google SEO guy. How many dealerships would love to be 87 pages deep?
Yeah.
This one now is, bro.
Oh, man. Thanks so much for joining me on the Dealer Playbook Podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me, bro. Let's go.
Okay,
Oh,
I'm
look,
going
I can even-
to record a little quick intro.
Oh, I just turned off the record. You want me to turn it back on?
Will it go to this? No. It's fine.
No, I can just do
I'll
it right now.
record it
It'll
from
just
my
be 2
phone.
files.
Okay.
Boom, you're recording.
All right, we're doing something a little bit different on this episode of the Dealer Playbook. I'm sitting down with my pal Glenn Lundy. We're going to talk about opportunity and how you can take advantage of it because it's available to you. You're going to hear some construction because we are in the dealership recording the very first podcast episode at our new podcast booth. So if you hear it in the background, now you know what's going on. Let's dig into this episode.
Oh my goodness. All right, that's it, man. So for those of you over here behind the scenes, you just saw the first episode, Dealer Playbook, first podcast, not first episode of the new podcast, but first podcast recording in this place. And one thing I do like, Michael, that we need to make sure people know is We will be recording everyday jobs with everyday people out of here. But it will not be the only podcast coming out of this podcast studio. We are actually asking any of the members of our team, if they want to create their own podcast, they're welcome to use our equipment and do the same thing. So the more podcasts, the more reach, the more people, the more attention.
This is what I love about technology. We just recorded my podcast using your equipment. Like, you're not attached to a location.
Right, exactly.
It's like you could do anything. I'm gonna love doing episodes from here.
Yeah, bro, it's easy. It's all set up. Click a couple buttons. You're recording. Now the stuff you gotta do on the backside. That's it. Hey, I better go. What time is it? 4:54. It's Taco Tuesday. We gotta go pick up our kids and shoot out to Paris. We're gonna eat some tacos. But day 20. A couple other updates. We are running into a lot of snags when it comes to our dealer's license, but we will get through them. They're simple snags, no big deal, but they do take time. And here's the thing, is a lot of our other products, like VinQ and Drive Central, Route 1, and all these other things, they require a dealer's license in order to be able to get rock and roll. And so, it's slowing that process down a little bit, which we're down to 20 days until we need to launch. Can you believe that? 20 days. We're down to 20 days until we need to launch. And so we really need this dealer's license bad. So we're running into that. The sign, they're getting ready to put up the other sign. We put up the big one. Oh, excuse me. Oh, sorry. I apologize for yawning on here. But that's an update. Got with Stockyard Bank. We actually got a credit card, a small one. Like, I don't have it, but
yeah, but it's coming.
It's coming.
It's in the mail.
So they called and said that was going on there. We also had to change the LLC. So our LLC actually got listed as 800 Auto Sales Elite when it's supposed to be 800 Elite Auto Sales. So because our sign does not match our actual LLC, that's holding up our dealer's license also.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, so they're getting that.
Well, how long does it take to get a dealer's license?
An hour if you have all the stuff. We just don't have all the stuff, bro. So we're working on it. Oh, there's Zach right there.
Hey, we bought some furniture today.
Yeah, you and
Jessica
went somewhere and got some nice stuff.
Yep.
It's over there in the corner.
We gotta add some vibe. Got some plants and ottomans and benches and bookshelves.
Plants and ottomans and bookshelves.
Oh my.
So that happened. You guys got some furniture stuff.
Yep.
The team is working hard. Evan and those guys are putting dealer agreements together so that we have banks.
These floors are going to get polished.
Floors are getting polished. I think Zach just...
with that finish that makes it look like a reflective. You know,
I think Zach just made an agreement with the cleaning people that are going to do that, which is good.
Building a wall over here.
Oh, there comes some more members of the team.
Okay, they got to finish their day here.
Yeah, I guess so. What else happened today? I had a lot of one-on-ones with my training or my consultant clients, so I was pretty much dug into that. Oh my gosh, like there's a bunch of them popping up.
Everybody's rolling in.
Oh, he's got our kids.
Oh, well, that's good. We don't have to drive back and get them.
We do, but I still have to go back though.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I have to get a polo and a hat for my father-in-law. But that's good though. So that happened today. Hannah moved into headquarters. She set up an office for accounting. She's going to do accounting out of there for right now until this gets going.
Yep.
So that happened today. And also we're starting to do, so we have to have insurance on the building and we have to have insurance. If anybody has a DUI or something like that, they're uninsurable. So we've hired all these people, but we haven't technically gone through the screening process. Mm-hmm. They should all be fine because they were all pretty much working at dealerships before.
Right.
But we actually have to go through that process. You're fine. You guys don't have to be quiet. You're good. We're done with the podcast recording, so you're good. So the we have to go through and screen, make sure nobody's got a DUI or murdered anybody or any of those things because that's bad.
Yeah, that would be bad.
And I think that's about it.
There's other miscellaneous things that we're thinking about, right? So
Oh, yeah.
All the stuff you mentioned about getting, CRM and inventory and all that set up, and it's dependent on a dealer license. On the marketing side, the website is being built, designed as we speak. We're building out all the ad accounts, and we're really conscious of coordinating when ads go live ahead of opening day so that there's leads and appointments that they can be booking and have
We
the
cannot
showroom
open these doors and have it be dead.
and have no appointment. Yeah. So we're thinking about timelines on all of that, and that's underway. In fact, I just got a message from Nadia, who's building out the ad account. She's got some questions on that, but that's all happening, and it's just all these puzzle pieces that have to fit together.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting and unique challenge.
I think, though, for me now, what I'm noticing is at first I thought it was a bunch of puzzle pieces that have to fit together. Now what I've realized is we've been finding the puzzle pieces. And then at the end, we'll put them all together. But it's really been a process of
we
flipping.
dumped it.
Yeah, exactly. We dumped it out.
Yeah,
And then we're like, oh, there was a couple pieces slid under the couch. We forgot about those.
We've got the corner pieces.
We've got the
right?
corner
piece
corner
building,
piece.
corner piece
That's
by
exactly
inventory,
right.
corner piece. Yeah.
So now it's like,
Yeah.
and we got 20 days. So,
No biggie.
no biggie.
No biggie. We got this.
Make sure you subscribe because you're gonna want to see all the. Subscribe. You're gonna want to see all the things as they go on. If you have any questions, drop them below for Michael, myself, or anybody else. We'll make sure to respond to your questions. Like, share. I think that's about it.
And eat tacos. Like, share, and eat tacos.